Hello, welcome to the next Lukozer retro game review video. Let's just choose my control method. So, yep, this is S.C.I, Special Criminal Investigation, or Chase HQ 2. This conversion was released by Ocean in 1991, I think. Quite late in the Commodore 64's lifespan. Obviously it's a conversion of the Taito coin op. This game was released on cartridge, which means that the fact that it is the only arcade coin-op game that uses a multi-load that also has a certain feature, it makes it a bit ridiculous, because being on cartridge it doesn't really need to do this particular feature. Anyway, I'll explain that when I get the game underway. Now, I did not have this game back in the day, and I have never been more pleased to say that about a particular game, because I'll get straight to the point. I fucking detest this piece of shit. The conversion of Chase HQ, the first one, it's infamous in the history of Commodore 64. It was an utter fucking load of bollocks. If anything, I detest this game even more, but for very different reasons. It's, well, you all know that the Commodore 64 version of Chase HQ was one of the most horrific looking games ever to be released on the Commodore 64. It looked fucking awful. It moved at a snail's pace. And it was just, you know, the audio was horrendous. It was just a shit fest from start to finish. In this, graphically, it doesn't look too bad. And as you can hear from this music, I haven't got a fucking clue who it is who did this music, but it's okay. I mean, it's not particularly memorable, but it's alright. But once you go beyond the graphics and the audio, you realise just how fucking hateful this game is. Now, I freely admit I am absolute shite at this game, and I'm about to show you just how shite. But the game does seem hell-bent in stacking everything against you, in one way in particular. So let's get the game underway. Now, as I say, this is a multi-load, so it is loading. So first of all, you get this fucking annoying cutscene. So the mayor's daughter has been kidnapped, last seen on a red Porsche heading east. Get going. So then it loads the game, and what you get is this. It actually says hit fire. So you've been waiting for it to load, but it doesn't then just start straight away. You press fire to start. Why wasn't that included in all games that were multiplayer or multi-load? And of course, here, the way they've done it, well, the game's on cartridge. It doesn't take very long to load. So it's, you know, they finally put it, put it into a game, but they put it in a game where it really doesn't need it. So, alright, let's get underway, and keep an eye on the distance meter at the bottom there. We'll go through the status panel here. You only need to pay attention to what's at the bottom. So we have 5 boosts. Then there's the damage meter. That's actually the damage meter of the car you've got to track down and bring in. And then there's that distance meter. That distance meter is the biggest work of fucking bullshit since I don't know, Southend bus timetables. Here we go. So off we go. So I find it's a bit pointless just trying to actually pass the cars. It's much better to try and blow them up, because if you pass them and then crash, they all come steaming past you and barge you out of the way. Now notice that already, according to that distance meter, I'm right on top of the enemy car. I'm nowhere near it. That distance meter is telling you that I'm right there, right on top of it, but I'm not even close. So why the fucking hell is it telling me I'm right there? So I'm heading along at this fucking, what is it, 200 odd mile an hour, getting nowhere near the car, and I've had to use a continue already. So even though I used 2 boosts and I was going flat out for the vast majority of the time that I used those boosts, I've already had to use a continue. I haven't even seen the car I've got to chase, I've got to bring in. So right, we'll use another boost. So, you know, what the fucking hell is that? Oh, there we go, it's finally arrived. So now I can try and bring the enemy car in. Yeah, I can tell you straight away, I will need to use at least one more continue before I can actually bring this fucking car in. And he's still in the greens, but I mean, I've got 14, 13, 11, however many seconds, and there's no way I'm going to be able to damage him enough in time. There we go, so I've got to use another continue, and he is now fucking taken off well out of sight, so here we go. And I finally actually caught him. But I've had to use 2 of my continues to do that. And now the game has fucking crashed. Well, that's never fucking happened before. Alright, well, we're back. You know what, I just can't be bothered. I'm just going to have to start again from level 1 while I do the review. I'm not going to look for a version of this that works properly because, well, for one thing, this has always worked properly in the past. And for another, I fucking hate the game, so I don't care that it doesn't work. As soon as I've done this review, I'm deleting it. So let's get another game underway and let's get the review underway. So, well, like the first Chase HQ, these annoying cutscenes, I mean, they're not as annoying as the ones in Chase HQ because they're not, you know, anywhere near as long. And certainly nowhere near as long as the cutscenes in Turbocharge. And then there's the gameplay. Well, actually, we'll do the graphics first. Graphically, say, it's certainly a downside better than Chase HQ, but then there are games on Cassette 50 that are graphically superior to Chase HQ. I've seen worse, I suppose, but I have seen much better. And then audio, so the music is okay. I mean, at least there is some, unlike in you know, the first Chase HQ game. But it is quite forgettable. And then there's the gameplay. Well, as you can see, I've already had to use a continue. The distance meter at the bottom is just utterly fucking pointless. That is not, you know, how far I am from the car I'm meant to catch, because you spend more time, according to that distance meter, you spend more time right on top of the enemy car than you spend actually catching it up. Then there's a small matter of trying to get around corners. No matter how gentle the corner is, you cannot go full speed around it. If you slow down, of course, you well, then have the car you meant to catch just pulls away from you. I mean, again, 4, 3, 2, 1 second, there you go. So another continue I've had to use. I haven't even seen the enemy car yet. And the thing is, I don't see it until like this helicopter comes along and drops some sort of new weapon for me. Here it is. Well, just give me the chance to fucking catch the car. I don't care if I, you know, can have a better weapon or not. If you hit the side of the road for any reason, well, you can see how far away the enemy car manages to get. It's just such a fucking annoying game. There is no fun to be had playing this fucking thing at all. It's just a fucking sack of shit. Graphically, as I say, I think it's fucking horrible. Well, no, not fucking horrible, but very bland. As I say, better than Chase HQ, but, you know, big fucking deal. But the gameplay, the car just feels horrible to drive, so you know, I've got to start up again from nothing, which means the enemy car just fucking disappears over the fucking horizon. If you're trying to take the car out on a bend, then you know you may as well forget it, because if you're going too fast, then obviously you'll come off. If you're going too slow, or even if you're going at the right speed to get round that corner, then okay, this time it's worked. Then, well, you see, you don't get any closer to the enemy car. You're constantly just keeping up with it. You can't catch it. Okay, it doesn't get away, but it's just wasting, you know, using up time. And then we're on to the next level, and you realise, well, it looks fucking identical to the last one. There's hardly any variation in roadside graphics. So I've got my 5 boosts, but I know that I've got to use them fucking quick, because otherwise that enemy car is just going to fucking disappear. I mean, yet again, according to the distance meter, I'm right on top of him. He's right with me, but there's no sign of him anywhere, because in fact he's fucking miles ahead. I'm not even remotely close. These enemy cars that hang around are a fucking pain in the arse. I think I rather wasted that boost there. There you go, timeout, but of course I've already used all my previous continues just getting through that first level. So, yeah, and there's no game over screen, it just takes you straight back to the title page. So yeah, I fucking hate this game. It's absolutely no fun to play. I wouldn't say it's unplayable, but it's not far off it. Yeah. It may have audio, which the original game didn't. Oh yeah, hang on, no. The first game did have audio, just. terms of music, I mean. So yeah, the music is an improvement over Chase HQ. Graphically, it's an improvement over Chase HQ. And even sound effects are an improvement over Chase HQ. Which sort of sounds quite promising until you remember what Chase HQ on the Commodore 64 was like. And you realise that that really isn't saying anything at all. So yeah, it's significantly better than Chase HQ, and I score it 0 out of 10. I just fucking hate it. So yeah, that's me definitely wash my hands of this shit. So that is Special Criminal Investigations for Commodore 64, 0 out of 10, fucking hateful game. That brings this review to an end, and we will see you at the next one.